of this fulfill the speed without sacrificing quality. And we have a lot to cover in this particular talk, and any operator in this room I think will be truly interested how some of our partners here have automated their operational workflow. So stay tuned, and we'll try to get through as much of this as we can quickly while leaving room for questions. So to get started, why don't we do a quick round of intros, right? Like, which companies and brands are lucky enough to have you guys at their leadership? What do you do there? And let's set the stage in terms of the scale of the operations you guys are covering.
Hello, my name is Josh Bultz. I am COO, Head of Operations for True Classic. And as we all learned from Ben yesterday, we are a fast-growing menswear brand. And my responsibilities are over the entire supply chain operation. So I oversee warehousing and inventory management, transportation logistics for all inbound and outbound, demand planning and inventory forecasting and replenishment, and IT as well.
Darlene?
I should have gone first. I can't beat that, guys. So I'm Darlene Yu. I'm the Director of Fulfillment and Logistics at Our Place. We are a non-toxic cookware and appliance company, really focusing around making cooking easier at home and also bringing people together around a shared meal. My team, including myself, we have 4 operators and 1 tech person.
Let's set the stage, because we all love a before and after, right? Like last year, that's not true, maybe a little bit longer than that, but like no Claude, no Gemini, no Gronk, no, I don't know, other confusing, whether it's a female name or a male name, but all these like agentic AI chatbots and AI helpers, I don't know what you want to call them. Before that existed, what did your operations look like? What was causing a lot of, time wastage, or just inefficiencies? What did that look like before you started automating some of your workflows? Darlene, do you want to go first?
Yes. So I joined Our Place probably after the 2nd year. We had just launched our ERP, Fulfill.io. Never heard of it in my life. And we were huge fans of Google Sheets. So for anyone who is, a startup, we all go through this pain, and I promise you it gets better.
I joined True Classic as a consultant last October, actually, and took over this role and became full-time in January. But what I know to be true is, like many companies where you had an IT department and some devs, every department has got needs, and they're writing up a requirement stock, and they're submitting it to IT and waiting for their project to hit the queue and come down. So it's kind of like, oh, I have something I need, I write it up, and eventually it'll get delivered. And so that's kind of how a lot of it went. And then obviously tools like Make.com and Zapier allows the business users to start doing some automations. But for all intents and purposes, all of our automations and integrations were traditional coding, API calls, JavaScript, and now every employee in our company is a software developer, a business analyst, a product manager, like a project manager. It's pretty awesome.
I feel like in this day and age, if you wait long enough, like the tool will appear. It's just how you use that tool. For example, I think I've waited long enough that I actually never have to learn how to drive. Someone else, a car, will do that for me, and I can just never drive again. And I haven't learned how to code, but now, you're right. With all these tools around us, it's like, not that I'm saying that no one should go to primary school and learn how to do math. You should know how to do like 2 to the 5th power, but a calculator will do that for you, and why waste the time doing it? So as long as you understand the process, and I think that's why you guys are so exceptional at your jobs. You guys have a really deep understanding of operations at your company, right? Like, every step of the way, you have deep knowledge of how that works, and that is why you're able to automate it, because you understand all of those steps so clearly.
Yeah, I mean, the more detailed prompt you give, the more context you provide, the better the answer is. And so now I can get the answers I need. I could say, give me a mobile optimized dashboard right now that's showing me, my split ship rate, or what's my average number of days of delivery, whatever it is, and it'll just go into whatever systems it needs to go, And every day it remembers the context. It's not like starting a new chat over. So it will learn from what everyone else is saying. It'll learn from what it's done in the past, and the outputs just get better and better. And what we like to say is the AI will never be as bad as it is today. And every day you can say the same thing because it's just progressing so quickly.
On that note, let's get to the meat of it, because we can talk about it all we want theoretically, but let's actually walk through real life examples that I hope many of you might be able to also apply within your companies as well.
What this is the business problem. The problem statement is, it is not a good thing when one customer order has to be fulfilled from 2 different warehouses. So when an order comes in, we're going to do order routing logic that historically would lead to a lot of split ships. We finished last year at an 8% split shipment rate, and what that means is, A, from a customer perspective, you're getting 2 boxes and they're not likely showing up on the same day. That kind of stinks. And 2, as the business, we're basically paying a $7.47 penalty every time we do that, because that's the cost of the second shipment. And when you look at the volume we were doing and the amount of split ships, we were talking over $1 million last year in just penalty cost. So the challenge to me is get it to 0. You met Ben yesterday, you saw him come up. I'm like, 0? How about like 4%, a half, 0? Okay. So what that means is the demand planning team that I have has to do a much better job at load balancing and making sure we have the right inventory at the right place, knowing that ShipBob is our hero location because it's an FTZ, so we're not paying the duty and the tax until after we ship. So an order comes in and we simply look at it and we say, can the preferred warehouse that's closest to the customer fulfill the whole order? If so, it gets it. If not, can the non-preferred warehouse fulfill the whole order? If so, it gets it. If not, the preferred warehouse will ship as many of the line items as it can. The other line items will ship from the non-preferred warehouse, and that's the problem. So I want to be able to have an everyday automation that builds me a dashboard that I can continuously look at and track any period of time over any period of time to see how we're doing on that, because that's a major KPI for the demand planner. And what I did is I said, hey, Claude, this is what a split shipment is. This is how I've defined it. So build me a database, and every day at 6 a.m., Claude wakes up and it goes through the MCP to ShipBob, grabs yesterday's data from every order, pulls them in, does some math to create sums and everything, and then feeds this dashboard and publish it to GitHub. And every day after my artifact is built, it repushes it back up to GitHub. And so now every employee can have this dashboard in their bookmarks and just hit refresh, as opposed to dropping an HTML file that you have to download the artifact and look at it and it's static. So now it's a real live thing that's updating every single day. And as you can see, my split shipment rate last month, 0.89%. 905 orders out of 102,000, and my cost penalty is $67.60. Most months last year were over $200,000 a month in split ships. So this is something that would otherwise take a lot of analysts' time, but it's building a database, so it's never just a static snapshot, and that's pretty awesome. So now we're able to manage this and monitor it very tightly, and my demand planner is doing a good job. So this is my favorite project, and this is probably the biggest, most important one I've done, and this was about really creating an agentic, automated, every week process for reconciling the inventory that we think we have in NetSuite at ShipBob Fontana and ShipBob Dallas and ShipBob Canada and UK and Netherlands and Australia. What do they say we have? What do we say we have, right? So what are we solving for? One, we want to make sure that our inventory is right so that we're not taking orders that we can't fulfill. That's a very bad customer experience. And from a business perspective, as anyone who's got a large inventory asset probably knows, you can have a revolving line of credit, asset-based lending, right? So we have to be able to provide documentation with credibility every month, sometimes every week, around what's our inventory position and how is that changing, because that affects our borrowing base, right? So when we had a significant amount of inventory discrepancies in every one of our warehouse locations for a ton of different reasons, This was the most important thing for us to figure out, and we were looking at it like monthly or every other month, and you would have massive inventory adjustments and millions of dollars up or millions of dollars down. Bad. So I basically spent a lot of time with Claude co-work and said, I need an agent that can Monday morning at 8 a.m. reconcile Netherlands, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. So Mondays I'm doing all the ShipBob international locations. Tuesday I'm doing ShipBob US, and on Wednesday morning the Dallas location. And what it's doing is it is going into NetSuite and it's going into the 3PL via Claude, and it's pulling out every SKU, not our supplies and packaging, but just true apparel, and it's saying this is what the warehouse says we have, and this is what we say we have. And then it's automatically classifying it, as you can see, into discrepancies based upon is it severe, high, medium, low, depending on how big the variance is. And it gives 2 different data tabs, and it's a breakout of exactly which SKUs in NetSuite need to be adjusted up, and the next tab is which SKUs in NetSuite need to be adjusted down to marry up to the 3PL. But I can't stop there. Who goes to bed at night thinking about the words URO, WRO, right? Like, I dream about this stuff. And I always have to remember, guys, you cannot true up and do an inventory adjustment until you make sure that every work order that needs to be closed is closed and the WRO behind it is closed, and every sales order that's open and needs to ship or cancel has to happen. Every PO, WRO needs to be received. Every transfer order, WRO needs to be received. And so what I now have it doing is say, go into every one of those SKUs that's severe, high, and medium, and identify every transaction associated with those SKUs that are open or unprocessed in one system, and the other is not, and there's a discrepancy. And now it's gonna kick out and give us a list of these specific transactions in ShipBob need to be reconciled or received, and hey, Lindsay, can you please get these received on your end? Or on our system, hey, Nico, I need you to fulfill these orders or receive these orders. And once they do that, then this will rerun, and now all of a sudden, my variance is much smaller. So the next stage for this, which I need my IT who works for me to agree will be difficult, is can we write back to NetSuite? Like the MCP will allow it, but our governance right now will never, we're not allowing any writing into NetSuite, because ultimately we could say, go ahead and close out those line items on those sales orders, receive the transfer order, and have it match. We can do that with ShipBob, so I can actually, through the MCP now, create a WRO without even logging in. I can have it create a kitting order and the WRO behind it without ever logging in. So the point being is now, every single week, we are reconciling, identifying all of the transactions that need to be fixed, re-reconciling, and then doing the adjustments to get everything together, and then it kicks out an executive summary on Thursday that we give to the bank. And I sign off on it, my accountant, our controller signs off on it, and then Ben, our CEO, signs off on it, and eCapital's very happy now. So this was a big lift, and this saved one person about 25 hours a week. And once I can get all of the automation to close the other things, that basically saves the rest of his hours per week. And then it's a matter of what else can we have you do that's higher level.
How many of you guys do monthly reconciliations of inventory? Okay. How many of you guys do every 6 months or every quarter? Annually? You must do it annually. People aren't raising their hands. Okay. So, I mean, I think you probably will have a lot of questions about this with Ben. I suggest that you remember what those questions are, and we will save time at the end for that. But you are a huge business. Ben mentioned, I think some of you guys got awards yesterday for guessing how big of a function.
Yeah, we got over 8 million units, like 38,000 SKUs, 8 million units. It's a lot, so like 1%.
How many people were managing inventory reconciliation before, and what has, how has this improved that in terms of time and people spent?
Yeah, we had 3 associates doing it. Now I have one. I said his name, Nico. And he now not only does all inventory reconciliation every week for all of our locations, but he's also managing all of our returns. And we're working with ShipBob as kind of the tip of the spear for the returns capability out of the Dallas facility as well. So it's allowing us to do so much more with less, and that's ultimately the key here. And this thing, if you've met me yet at this show, you've probably heard me say the word Victor 1,000 times. Victor is something you've got to look into. It is your Slack coworker that works 24/7, learns and understands every context of every issue of every channel in your Slack, and it's powered by Claude, so it will also connect into ShipBob, into your other systems and NetSuite, everything. And now, when we have these big processes, so we do a lot of Costco road shows. So we're talking 60 shows a week, every show is getting 6 to 7 pallets worth of inventory, 50% sell-through comes back, 10 days later, it's got to get counted, received, and at the end of the assortment season, we might have 100,000 4-packs left of black, white, navy carbon that we need ShipBob to break open and de-kit, right? And then turn around and put those into singles on the shelf, and then a separate work order behind it to then grab the black and the white to put them together into 2 packs to send to Amazon or to D2C, for example. That's a lot of work. And if you think about the process from ShipBob, you're going D-kit order, the WRO behind it, put it away. Work order for a kit, the WRO behind it, put it away. And then a transfer order to actually then go pick that stuff and get it to the warehouse that it needs to get into. So now, instead of manually going in and creating 60 D-kits requests and 60 WROs, and then dropping in new work orders for kitting and transfer orders, we are now planning all of this out, and we basically just say, Victor, go ahead, create the WRO for us, create the kitting order for us, and then track every single day and give us an update in Slack so we know, is the work order closed and completed and the WRO behind it received? Because if you've ever done work orders or kits with ShipBob, you'll know you're not going to get the payload to process the transaction on your side until both of those are received and closed. And it would always be like, why are we going negative? Well, because we're shipping out orders even though we didn't get the inventory coming in. Now, instead of reactively going in and finding after the fact that, oh shoot, it's because this WRO is open and I need to ask somebody to get it closed, this thing is telling us immediately, all the time, like every day. And this is one of 1,000 examples where we use Victor to just constantly log into ShipBob and come back and tell us what's done, what's not done, and now you can go to the next. And it's just awesome. So it's about being proactive and not reactive.
I heard you guys, both of you, nerding out over your automated workflows at 7 a.m. this morning. So I'm sure the rest of you have also feel the same way about when you listen to what True Classic has done to automate some of their workflows. But Darlene, do you want to walk us through what workflow or AI automation has our place recently put into place? For those of you who sat earlier during the kind of MCP share out by ShipBob, I don't know if you know that, but that was actually our place's dashboard that you were looking at. So, Darlene, do you want to walk us through a recent automation that you've worked on?
Yeah, if we go to the first slide, perfect. So this beautiful screenshot is our ShipBob daily fulfillment metrics. Just to go back in time a little bit, we didn't have this available. I was going into ShipBob's WMS, downloading individual outbound reports, checking open orders, looking for exceptions, also looking for delivered orders, seeing what the transit time was, the whole spiel. But we got really lucky, and now ShipBob sends us webhooks, and so we ingest that data into Snowflake, which is our cloud-based data platform. And so that data comes in through SurgiBot. Sergi's a real person. He's our head of tech. He just named it SurgiBot, which sounds much cuter. So we don't have a Victor, we have a Sergi instead. Yeah. So if you look at the first left 2 screenshots, these are specific to currently open shipments. So obviously ShipBob has their SLAs, but occasionally orders are aged beyond a day. So we want to investigate why. Could be a ton of reasons. Maybe we stocked out on the last few units. And so this gives us a really clear visibility of, okay, we need to focus on those old orders. And then if I really want to be nitpicky with ShipBob, I'll look at the shipments fulfilled yesterday, and I'll ask, how come CA05 is taking almost a full day or whatnot? CA02. And so we kind of get a visibility of if any sites are really struggling with fulfillment, and if they are, we can reach out to them proactively and say, hey, is everything okay? Do we have labor issues or anything like that? Go Go to the next slide. So this is probably my favorite part of the metrics. I look at it every morning. If you heard Ollie speak yesterday, he also looks at the same thing. We live and breathe this. So before I go on social media, this is actually what I look at. So we're looking at shipments fulfilled internationally. While we do have nodes in Canada and the UK, occasionally we do stock out, and if the replan doesn't come in fast enough, we'll fulfill the shipment from the US, and it'll populate on this report telling us, hey, these orders were fulfilled from the US. This is the average cost. I hate this metric because I want to make sure we're fulfilling from the right node. On the bottom half, this is all shipments delivered yesterday. So all of the shipments that were delivered yesterday, the average transit time and our average cost. On the right side, we can see this is everything that was a high average cost and products that are in non-optimal zones. So then we can pass this data back to the planning team to readjust inventory and balance it back out. The next slide. So this isn't a ShipBot metric, but directly from Fulfill. So if you've heard me speak last year, you would have heard me speak about Packurate. It's a cartonization tool that we use within Fulfill. So if a customer places an order on Shopify, the order then flows into Fulfill, and the cartonization tool basically runs and looks at our packaging requirements, breaks the shipments into customer shipments before the orders are then dropped into ShipBob. So this looks at the item bundling efficiency between 2, 3, and 4 items. And at the bottom half, we're looking at products impacting 2 items or order bundling efficiencies. So for this particular snapshot, it's for our titanium.
And just for our audience, and it's a little bit confusing with fulfill and fulfilled, right? You want to just explain what fulfill is?
So
Darlene.
fulfill.io, not fulfilled, is our ERP. I would say it's probably one of the most user-friendly ERPs out there. This is our Airtable TMS. So going back in time again, remember I said I really love Google Sheets. So when I first joined our place, we were using Google Sheets, and we had 45 people using the same Google Sheet trying to track inbound shipments, and it was the scariest thing that I've ever seen. And we started looking at commercial-ready tools, but we didn't really like what was available, so we just built it ourselves in Airtable. So we've been really thoughtful about the partners that we've been working with. So all of our freight forwarders have direct integrations via API, as well as Fulfill, and it all funnels in through Snowflake, and then it pops up in Airtable. So we can see all of the booking statuses, the milestones, and there's like 300 different columns. I wasn't gonna go through all of it, otherwise we'll be here until tomorrow. But yeah, so most of the teams use the Airtable view, and it's really helpful. If I could get like a show of hands, how many people are still manually creating WROs? Yeah, we're gonna be friends soon. Okay, so up until like maybe 2 years ago, we were still manually creating WROs. Claude wasn't as great as it is now, so you got lucky. I didn't have any of that. So we use MindCloud. It's an automation tool that integrates with both ShipBob and Fulfill. So when we write a PO in Fulfill and then we mark it as shipped, what happens is that supplier shipment is then funneled into ShipBob. WRO is created referencing our supplier shipment plus the container number. Then when the WRO is received, that data then flows back into Fulfill to mark it as finalized. Now, we love catching exceptions. So if a receipt has a higher variance than we were expecting, there's an automated email that gets sent to us, and then we investigate. And yeah, that's it.
Both of you have described situations in which the automations have, it sounds pretty smooth, a lot of work went into it, and it's been successful. But this is a huge era of trial and error, right? We're all testing to see what can be automated, what shouldn't be automated. I think yesterday we heard from Passport CEO that they automated it, and it was actually more expensive than actually still working with a human to do the work. So it wasn't quite as efficient. What are when you were building some of these automations, right? What broke? What didn't work? And are there any learnings from that you can share with the team?
I think for us, nothing in particular broke, but when we're building automations, we're always thinking about the exceptions anyway. So what we did focus on is building trigger notifications in Slack, which I know can be really annoying because you're getting constant notifications, but it gives you a sense of comfort knowing that you're not looking at everyday data of whatever automation you built, and you're only focusing on the exceptions because That way, you can pinpoint to whoever is managing that workflow and say, hey, please look at this, troubleshoot, let's fix it, and then we move on. So in theory, it kind of breaks, but also doesn't.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I use the term manage by exception every day. So I'm all about, all right, if everything's working, the stuff that's working great, good job. I don't need to see it, don't need to hear it. Show me the problems. And so for me, the challenges that I had when I started setting up these automations and these Claude agents was, it was creating these live artifacts, but it was like static, right? It's like static to basically on the data it pulled. I can double click and see it in my browser, but then I have to like grab the HTML artifact and send it in Slack and tell people to download it, double click and open. But then tomorrow when it runs again, I've got to send it to them again, right? So for me, it was like, how can I take this live artifact and get it hosted, you know, on a browser URL that can be shared and bookmarked, and the URL is not going to change every day. And I was always using the default LLM tool in Claude, so it was like Opus 4.7 and then 4.8 or something like that, or 4.6 to 4.8. And it would tell me, okay, go here, go to GitHub, do this. I can't do this for you, but when you do it, come back and tell me. And I would try, I'm like, I don't get this. Like, it was too technical once I got into GitHub, and I don't have the patience to sit there for an hour and try to figure it out. And so I kind of gave up. And then Fable was released, and Jerry, our IT guy's like, hey, everybody, we got for like 2 weeks, like free Fable, see what it can do for you. So I went straight in there and I said, hey, can you get this hosted for me? What do you need me to do? It said, just go to GitHub, use your True Classic Google SSO login, create an account, and then hit the green create button and create a project or a container and call it this. Copy, paste, done. It said, leave your browser open and I'll do the rest. And I just sat there and watched. Like, my browser starts moving and it's going on, doing this thing. It's like, let me test. Okay, that broke, it didn't work, let me go back. And it just kept like talking to itself and fixing itself. And I don't know, maybe in 30 minutes, bam. I had this thing and I hit the link, I double checked it, it worked. I didn't share it out yet because I wanted to wait till tomorrow's 6 a.m. run, because I trained Claude, okay, now every day after you do the split shipment data where you grab it from the 3PLs and update the database, I then need you to publish that change to GitHub, but I need to use the same URL so everyone can bookmark it. And the next day I checked, oh my gosh, it worked. So I sent out the URL to everyone in ops and my leadership and said, now here's another dashboard to add that is daily refresh. And then when I woke up on Monday morning of this week, my data had not updated since last Thursday, because somewhere between Thursday night and Friday night, the government told Anthropic to turn it off. And so then I had to go back in the project and say, stop using Fable, go back to 4.8. But it's pretty powerful stuff, man. It is really powerful stuff. And now after seeing that the MCP has write access into ShipBob and into NetSuite, you know, if you were like going live with them and you know, you got an ERP and you don't necessarily want to do like a traditional API connection, you could actually now like just do it through MCP. And oh, the PO's created. The second the PO's in the system, I want it to go to ShipBob and create the WRO. Boom. There's so many amazing things we can do with this now, and every day is day zero, basically. Every day is day zero. And I'm just like trying to get my 10-year-old to start using this thing. It's like I'm seeing where the world's going.
I think that leads us to a good point, right? I think as operators, they're executors, right? They want to get the job done. They wake up, they have a to-do list of things to get done. And always onboarding a new tool can be a little bit scary. I think the good thing is it's never too late, because all of these tools are changing so fast. So for an ops leader in the room who hasn't started using some of these agentic AI tools yet, where do you suggest they begin? What should be their first automation? Darlene, do you want to?
Okay, so, yeah.
Or Josh.
No,
you can go, ladies first.
Started.
You can go ahead. Josh first.
Well, if I just think about like where I was last year, I was like, okay, yeah, ChatGPT, I need to make my email better, or write this letter, or help me plan an itinerary. And it was, generative. It was all generative. And people started using the term agentic in pods. I'm like, what the heck is this term? Like, what does this mean? I don't get it, agentic. fast forward 6 months, it's like now I'm all about it. And basically just saying, if I were to start, I would say just start building me dashboards. I want you to log in every day into ShipBob and give me a list, drop it in Slack that shows every one of my SKUs that's in a non-pickable location. We all know what happens if your order gets caught up in a non-pickable location, right? Then it goes into exception, it gives up the commitment, and then you're like, what the heck's going on? So I start to think through, what are all of the unhappy paths? What are all the unhappy paths that lead to an unquality event that's gonna cause a problem? And then just start talking to Claude about each of those. And just have it start doing that and becoming a monitor. Then it's very easy to go straight into, give me a dashboard of this, and okay, great, generative. Then I would start moving into some of the agentic stuff, like what I'm doing with, if you have a cadence where you're always going to reconcile inventory or close out old WROs, just tell it what you want to do and watch it figure it out, because it always learns the context. Everything you've ever done with it, it adds it to its memory. You'll never have to retrain it. And it's like learning from what other people on the same Claude Pro account in my company are doing. So it'll tell me, make sure you tell Jerry in IT this, because you're touching an area that he's working on. Like, wow. So there's gonna be a $1 billion company with 1 or 2 employees. It's gonna happen, and it's gonna happen a lot probably in the near future, because these are your employees.
Darlene, do you want to share how you got started?
Yeah, I mean, I think just based on yesterday and today, I've been so lucky to meet so many different operators and leaders. And if there's one thing I've learned is that we're not all created equal, and this is solely just my opinion. And not everyone needs an ERP, not starting off at least. But I think in my eyes, I feel like the ERP is really the starting point for you, because in past lives, I've switched them on and off because, they didn't grow with us, and we're trying to build new automation tools. And I found that a lot of it stems from the foundation of where you're starting. And you want to find a partner that you can grow with, because your business will continue to change. Everyone's does. And, if I had Claude several years ago, our idea of how things should be running would be very different than it is now. But I think an ERP is such a great starting point, and then you just build on it.
And remember, you can always just ask Claude, these are the functions that I spend X number of hours of my day doing. They're very repetitive. What is something that you could help me with? You can actually have a conversation with Claude, right? And kind of working through and helping think through, what is the least amount of effort to get a dashboard made that could really help reduce the amount of time that I spend doing X or Y. And
if you always look, you read their answer when they come back to you, it'll always almost at the end say, and would you also like me to do that? Yes. and would you also yes?
Do all of it.
And so it's capturing things I'm not even thinking about. It's actually making me smarter because I watch how it's doing it as it's going. It's pretty amazing.
It's the best upseller. We need to figure out how to upsell information within our company too. And what does this mean for team structure and hiring? How are you guys thinking about that? Because I know we all like to keep a lean ops team, but this does create the potential for becoming even leaner, but you have smart people on the team too, right? Thinking through next projects, et cetera.
Yeah, I've had the same size team for the last 3 years, and we've really focused on automating manual workflows. And I think those of us as operators that are not tech people, sometimes we forget that even the simplest task can be automated. And it's actually quite difficult for us to sit down and think about what takes up most of your time in a week. And so my team and I have been really focused about, let's automate as much as we can, so then you have the capacity to focus on other projects and maybe some things that are more strategic. And then us as individuals become more techie, and it just balances out. So if there's anything I've learned is that automation doesn't necessarily mean you should get rid of everybody, because systems will break, data will be imperfect, human oversight is still going to be required. Because if I got rid of everyone on my team, I would be screwed. And there would be no future for me, because that team is the one that's helped building us up. And so we want to make sure we just give them that room.
For us, we are very lean for like our size and our volume. And if you want to hire a role, you've got to go through this like form automation through Slack, and you've got to basically answer 3 or 4 questions as to why you cannot do it with AI, why you cannot automate it, are you sure, submit it, no, are you really sure? And it's really hard, and that's the level of effort that Ben from a leader is putting on us, which is making us really think through what do you need, what do you actually need, shrink it down. Have you defined the role? Have you defined the areas of requirements for that role? And of those areas of requirement, can they be automated? Are they even necessary? Can you use AI? So it is not easy adding a net new hire at True Classic, because we can continue to grow and our headcount has only gone down. So there's roles that like natural attrition, we might not backfill, which is what happened on my inventory control. I had like 3 people, natural attrition, 1, and now he's like loving this because he sees what it's doing for like his own knowledge and career, and he's in the Philippines and he's doing a great job with this stuff. So, and I think it's, as a business leader, I think that's kind of the right approach, is you've really got to really think through, do we need this role, or is it something that you can automate most of it and then maybe hire offshore for the few things you can't. So unless you're basically a warehouse worker, like everything's up potentially for automation. Yeah.
In the interest of time, I'm just going to ask one last question before we open it for questions. But what is one tool or resource you'd recommend that any ops leader should look at right now?
I'm still fairly new to it because we just implemented Omni. It is an AI analytics tool that sits on top of your existing database. So it really allows you to explore new reporting features or anything of that sort. And all you have to do is really just look within your own database. So I'm still fairly new to it, but it's been a pretty cool tool to play around with.
When I hear tool, I hear the word software, and software's dead. Like, I will never recommend, I will hardly ever buy another SaaS. We're gonna write Codex, Cloud Code. We're gonna build what we need. So I would say, not even close. Check out Victor, okay? Victor AI for Slack. We started off, Ben saw it on LinkedIn, clicked it to just install it in a Slack, free trial, and all of a sudden Victor started asking us questions and dropping in links to web-based dashboards. Within like 3 days, we're like, Ben, what is this thing? This is unbelievable. And it made my eyes just, I'm 50 years old in 2 months. This is probably the most exciting, eye-opening thing I've ever seen in my career. And I've been working since 1998, and I've never seen anything like this. You start with Victor, Claude is under it, and it can be configured by your IT team to go into any system, ShipBob, any 3PL, Triple Whale, Meta, AppLovin, NetSuite, whatever your ERP is, you name it, and it will grab whatever you want, create dashboards. It will be your project manager and keep you on task and keep your team on task for all the work that needs to happen. And no one needs to log in NetSuite and grab the WRO and go to ShipBob and look up the WRO and see what's going on one thing at a time. Check out Victor. Just even if use the free trial, it will blow your mind.
On that note, can we open up the floor for questions?
I had a quick question. When you're pulling data from the MCP and it's doing analysis, how do you know it's right?
How do I know the data?
Or it's not like hallucinating.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I haven't seen much hallucination like this year. Like a lot of that was happening a lot, especially like ChatGPT. I mean, there are times where Victor or Claude will say that they can do something when I know they can't. And I will like, why would you tell me, Victor, that you can post this file to NetSuite because I know for a fact you don't have access to write to NetSuite? Oh, you're right, Josh, I'm so sorry. Here's what I can do. I have not yet found the data to be wrong. I have found it is sometimes overconfident in what it thinks it can do. And then I dial it back. But I mean, if we want to like go export and look and see what it did, we can do that. But we have not yet had really any challenges. Now, one of the big things that you got to really think about going forward, if you're already using AI, like every employee in our company, down to the executive assistant that gets, takes care of the office and makes sure every employee has lunch when you're in the office. Every employee has full Claude Pro and access to Victor. Victor's just like one instance running in Slack, and everybody uses it. The expectation is that you're going to use it, and we don't even know. I honestly don't even know how much we're spending on it, but it's probably a lot less than if everyone had their own project manager and their own coder and their own analyst. And so it's one of those things where we're just saying, okay, go, but we know everyone is doing their own thing. And to your point, there may be somebody calling over here to calculate net revenue, and someone in marketing calculating net revenue, and someone in ops calculating net revenue, and they got a different number, because what's the system of truth and how are they calculating net revenue? So one of the areas that we're working on now is creating a centralized like data lake where there's one IT's controlling it, going out to the MCPs of every system every day or multiple times a day, pulling that data into the internal data lake, and then all employees and their instances of Claude will only call the data lake, which does not use the same tokens because it's our internal database that's not going out over the internet via API. So that's how we're going to be able to say, if you want to get net revenue, you get it from here. You want to get OpEx, you get it from here. You want contribution margin, you get it from here. And everyone would then be pulling the same federated and unified and accurate data while reducing your cost of tokens. So that's like the evolution we're already working on right now.
Darlene, I don't know if you want to take time to answer that, or whether you've had issues with guessing whether the data in MCP is correct or not.
I mean, once in a blue moon, I do run reports myself, and I will just check the analytics to make sure that they are aligned. There will always be a time where data isn't perfect, so it is important to, once in a blue moon, just check the data source. I'm still like the old-fashioned way as an operator. I still like to make sure I still know how to use Excel and like check the data.
And I think that goes for all of us too, and especially for people who are relatively new and starting their careers. This is a tool, but it's not going to do your job. Your job is not to be an agentic AI question prompter. Your job is to understand the functions and how everything works and pieces together. And this is a tool for you to kind of take out the day-to-day repetitive tasks in your life. But it still needs really smart individuals making really good judgment calls with the data presented before them, and gut checking whether what's presented is correct or not. Do we have time for one more question?
I have a question for Josh, but first thing, Josh, I can resonate with you because at work we started to use Claude and VS Code, GitHub, and Git push. Every night I wake up and I'm like, what can I build today? Like, it's crazy. Great. And we did the same thing. We moved to NetSuite as well, which is hectic, but we now build everything with like Claude and it's easy. So my question is, we use Shopify for D2C. So we have Shopify, go to NetSuite, create sales order, create a fulfillment, go to ShipBob, come back to NetSuite, invoice, and come back to Shopify. Is that the right way to do it?
Like the order flow?
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing it with traditional API integration in Celigo.
Yeah.
So it's like Celigo. I mean, Shopify, I think, is natural, like a NetSuite connector comes in, and then it's like Celigo out to the 3PL. So they get the sales order. When they fulfill it, the payload comes back. It creates the item fulfillment in NetSuite. I believe we already, and once that item fulfillment comes in, then that triggers Shopify to do the final charge on the card because there was a pre-auth on the front end. Absolutely, yeah, that's how
So ShipBob is not connected to Shopify, right?
No, we did have ShipBob connected directly to Seller Central, and it was causing us problems with inventory going to the wrong country marketplace.
Yeah.
So we turned that off, and now the orders, we grab them, they come into NetSuite, push to ShipBob just like Shopify, and then bring it back in. So no, we didn't want to do that. I need to have control.
Thank you.
I'm gonna close this out with just what does lean ops mean for you guys in 2026?
Do you want to go ahead?
You go.
I go? Oh, okay, all right. For me, lean ops is really about let's get rid of the repetitive work, right? Things that we don't think that are repetitive, like I used to think, oh, I'll just run this report every single day. It was only when someone on my tech team actually opened my eyes to, hey, there's so much more you can do. As operators, we don't naturally think about what can be automated, and it took someone's guidance to tell me, just think of anything you want to automate, and the worst thing that'll happen is you'll be told no, or there's an alternative solution. So whether you're building it or if you're outsourcing it, I think the investment will pay off.
Lean ops to me means I work 55 to 60 hours a week. No. Which is true, but it's like, because I can get a lot more done. I can, all of us can do the work of 5 people now. One of our True Classic operating system values is we want to get 1% better every day. And if you're getting 1% better every day, by the end of the year, you've 3.5x, 3.65x your capability. And now Ben's like, we're getting 10% better every day, right? So it's allowing us to do things that we've never been able to do before. And like I said earlier, are you sure you need that extra head? Why do you need that extra head? Okay, what if we only did 80% of what you're speccing out and that 80% can be automated? Can we forsake that altogether? Or can we take that 20% and someone else 20 and that 20 and then go offshore that role? So it's all about really forcing. It's a forcing function that forces us to think through what do we need versus what would we like to have. And what you might like to have is where the AI can come in and help kind of provide that extra capability because your organization is lean. So I used to run the same number of departments with twice the number of people at half of the revenue of True Classic.